All right, here we are, live on Starfleet Boy with my very special guest, Mr. Satyr. How are you
Hello.
doing?
Good. Good.
Excellent. You're at the Starfleet. Oh no, you're in Cardassia Prime.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm on Cardassia Prime, man.
How's everything going over there today?
It's it's always a beautiful day on Cardassia Prime. Yeah. It's hot, dry. Yeah.
Hot and dry, and also I noticed your decor is not very green. My other colleague, Goldu Scott, has a lot of green in his Cardassian
Oh
decor. Yeah.
man. I like it sparse, so
A much more are you are you much more Spartan? Very cool. Well, the reason we're coming together today is there's been a lot of interesting developments on the Star Trek Discovery front, and one of the things we want to do on Starfleet Boy is when Star Trek Discovery starts airing, we're gonna do discussions after the show. So that'll be a fun current thing to do. Especially since right now the show's focused on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and then we're going to eventually go on to the other shows. But it'll be fun to talk about Star Trek Discovery as it's airing come this January. So lots of news. Basically, Bryan Fuller spilled the beans about a few things. He let the world know that the lead character is not going to be a captain of a ship, not the captain of the Discovery, but rather a lieutenant commander. And the lead character is also going to be a female. There's going to be a lot of aliens on the show, and apparently a character who's gay. And also, the show will be set 10 years before the events of Star Trek, the original series. So I think that's all that was discussed. Did you get more? Did you glean more out of it? Out of the news from yesterday?
yeah, I mean just you hit all the main points. There were a couple things like uh like since it's technically other than the pilot's gonna be on like a pay per view
Oh yeah.
thing,
So
like their CBS All Access or whatever.
that's
They're
right. So
gonna they're
they're
gonna
hoping.
let them cuss and stuff. Like I guess I mean that's what he said. It's gonna be a little more raw or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be edgier. Apparently, there's probably gonna be. I think they're. They said there's definitely gonna be some swear words said, and maybe even some graphic sexual encounters, which
Oh
I will start. Star Trek doesn't shy away from sexuality
no,
for
they don't.
certain, but
I feel like they usually handle it like tactfully for network television.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. It's totally true, and I think Star Trek Enterprise went pretty far with those.
Oh yeah.
Those crazy.
Those like T'Pol Tucker scenes
Yeah.
in like the doctor's like decontamination bay
That's
room.
it. The decontamination gel. It's pretty awkward, weird thing to have to go through. But so we'll see what Star Trek Discovery is going to offer on the sexy factor. But I'm not terribly excited about Star Trek Discovery. The the little teaser slash test footage of the USS Discovery was interesting, but at the same time, it didn't look very. I don't know. The ship's cool looking. I like that
Right.
it.
The design of the ship is cool,
I like that
but
it
I agree.
references, yeah, that Ralph McQuarrie artwork that was supposed to be for another, an abandoned Star Trek series from I guess the 80s or the 70s,
Hmm.
and I think that, yeah, I agree. The ship looks cool. There's a lot of interesting things about the ship that I don't understand. It takes place. So this takes place 10 years before Star Trek: The Original Series, but this ship doesn't look anything like that era of
Right.
Starship. And I know that the Enterprise is, by the time during this timeline, I believe the Enterprise is being captained by Christopher Pike. So the Enterprise looks the same as it did on the original series, and so I don't know what this ship is. Is it like I'm guessing by the bulk of it and the look of it that it's some kind of long range ship. and the name of it, the
Oh, really?
Discovery.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, just
I'm just guessing. I don't know. It looks huge. It looks pretty big. I mean, like the nacelles have three bizarre ram scoops, and I, I'm getting a little nerdy here, but it implies to me that it's a really robust nacelle, and maybe like the ship's designed to go really long distances. It kind of reminds me, actually, funny enough, of the a little bit with a saucer section and nacelles placed on it of the starship in that Atlantis universe series. Did you ever watch the Stargate series, Stargate Atlantis? Not
no,
Atlantis, Stargate Universe. Sorry.
no. Well, I mean, sure, a couple episodes, but not like
Well, it's
my
like
parents really loved it. They had like all the box sets, but I never got into it.
Stargate's pretty cool if you get a chance, but although it's like been on the air for like an insane amount of time, so there's a lot of episodes.
No, yeah, I saw. I used to see them like boxes and boxes of them. Like, dang, I love that show.
But yeah, I'm guessing it's some kind of long range ship, and based on the name, the
With the name
Discovery.
Discovery, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Like, I doubt that they would name a warship the Discovery. Like that.
Well, I mean, no Starfleet ships are supposed to be warships, but except for the Defiant. But that's
Right.
splitting hairs, I guess.
Right, you're absolutely right. You're right. Although, it's good to have defensive capabilities. You can't go out into the universe, foolhardy. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I don't want to skip ahead because you're on a track, but I think I kind of I don't know, took you off it.
No worries.
Talking about how the trailer looked, because I agree. Like, it looks like. Do you guys have Regal Cinemas there?
Oh, I think we do, but I went to see Star Trek Beyond at the Cinerama.
No, I'm just talking about just the chain, Regal Cinema.
Oh yeah, we definitely do.
Okay, like when you go to the movie and you sit down, and before it starts, it's like that roller coaster, CGI.
Yes.
Like, that's what it looked like. It was that quality. It was the Regal Theaters, roller coaster with the popcorn popping and the big soda. Like, that was the quality of it. And don't get me wrong, they've updated that since 1992 or whatever, when they first introduced that little thing. I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love that. I love the nostalgia of every time I go to a Regal Cinema of seeing that silly little lead in, But the CGI for Discovery, the teaser clip, looked bad.
Yeah, it's definitely unfinished. I feel like there's better stuff on YouTube that fans are making. You're absolutely right about that, and that's a great comparison to the Regal.
No, when I saw it, that was the first thing that came to my mind, because it's the same kind of start. You go through the weird little thing, and it's kind of Space Station-y-esque, and then oh, it's a roller coaster, I don't know.
There should have been popcorn popping out of the deflector or something like that. It would. Oh boy. But yeah, so there's been a few things I don't know anything about how Hollywood works or timelines or anything like that, but it's also a little concerning that the show's going to air in January. How many months away is that? That's now less than 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And
but I think it's only the pilot that's going to air in January.
Well, it's 13 episodes, and I imagine they'll be out every week. I don't know, maybe they'll do them
I have a feeling they'll do a pilot in January, but the show probably won't start for a couple months after that.
Oh no, that's so lame. I hope that's not the case. But anyways, they haven't. I guess they haven't even cast the show. The sets aren't really built, I don't think, and and you would, I mean, you would think the show would have started filming a year ago, or more, 6 months ago, and they would have had a cast by now and a whole season planned out. But I don't know. It's very interesting. Maybe it's going to be a new way of making television as well.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the whole series does start in January, but I don't think there's no way they could cast and do all the principal photography and then do individual scores for each episode, which I guess.
Oh, and special effects too.
Special effects for each episode.
It just sounds crazy.
Yeah.
They're not I don't know that
I mean,
what's
unless
coming
they're
up.
they're keeping a lot of it like under the hat, like
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
it's
it's
cast and they're shooting right now, but they don't want to talk about it.
that'd be really great. Because I would feel more confidence about the show. Look at the show Battlestar Galactica. I don't know. Did you watch the Battlestar Galactica show? The
Some of
new
it,
the reboot.
I haven't done the whole series yet.
It was on Sci-Fi Channel. It was, relatively low budget show, but phenomenal. And I know that uh the CG I thought in that was way better, and that's like already like 5 years old now than what we saw in the little Discovery trailer, the little preview. So yeah, it's a little concerning. Um, did anything about the announcements catch your attention or please you? For the Discovery announcements that Bryan Fuller made yesterday.
I mean, when he mentioned that like the pilot or premiere episode will like start with an event that's like referenced through the original series, and they're like, oh, original series fans will know what this is. Like, what do you think it is? Because he said it's not the Romulan War, and it's not like the forming of Section 31.
The funny thing is that I can't even think of what it it might be, and I consider myself a huge original series fan. I'm gonna be excited to bring this up the next time we're all together with the doctor, because I think he'll have an idea of it. But there were a few funny things on Twitter, a few reactions, and my favorite was actually a Next Generation reference. There's a treaty between the Federation and the Shellyak, and that's about the only thing that takes place in this time frame. So
Hmm.
the Shellyak are these like they look like they're made of coal or some. They look kind of
Okay.
like, yeah. They're coming up in season 2. We'll probably talk about that episode soon.
All right.
So that's about the only thing that I can think of.
Maybe it'll be like a DS9 thing. And I think Enterprise had a original series episode, didn't they?
Yeah, what do you mean, like the well, Enterprise had that interesting episode with the constellation from the future or something. It was the Mirror universe, so they had like a glimpse into the future with the next generation vessel, which looked like the Enterprise, the 1701. I didn't see that episode. I have to watch it.
Okay.
I heard it's an awesome episode.
What I was gonna say is maybe it's like the trouble with tribbles. Like that's gonna be the
The
first
major,
episode of
the
this.
triple, the major event that's talked about is the tribbles, and so I don't know. There's also a lot of fans of Axanar are saying that the reason why CBS and is so adamant about getting Axanar off the air is that the event might be the Battle of Axanar,
Hmm.
which I don't know a whole lot about. I just know that it involves the Klingons and it's really brutal and so on and so forth. But so that might be something that they're gonna do. I don't know. It provokes me to want to watch the original series and see if I can catch the reference or figure it out. But so far, I haven't seen anything pop up that seems like,
Like nothing came to mind. Just like, oh, it's probably
yeah.
this.
And on the internet, I'll do a little extra research, but I haven't seen anything pop up definitive on the internet either. So I'm sure there's like huge, greater Star Wars, I have Star Wars on the brain today because the Rogue One second trailer dropped and it was pretty excellent. Now that's how you do a movie trailer or get excitement going, folks. Star Trek needs to learn just a little bit from Star Wars, I think.
Oh, you don't like the Beastie Boys?
I actually love the Beastie Boys, but like they use that song in every trailer for the last 30
Yeah.
movies, so it's like it gets a little like. Meh.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to Star Trek Discovery, you know, I I think that I think that it's another thing that I have a complaint about. I guess is that although I am, I'm happy that Star Trek's coming back to television. In a sense, we'll touch on the CBS All Access thing in a second, um, but I wish that someone would write, like, I wish they would have written a series that took place after Star Trek: The Next Generation. Like, I would love to
Right.
see things going forward. And
Right. That was what I was gonna like want to talk about too. It was like
oh, cool. So you
why
agree? Yeah,
why the original series timeline? Like why during that time frame? You know, like they should be
Eh,
going. I mean, they already did Enterprise, which is kind of before, you know,
yeah.
and
I
so
thought Enterprise did a good job of filling in the gaps of the early
right,
days of the Federation, and then you have Star Trek First Contact, which kind of goes even further back and like kind of gives you a clue as to what was going on during that time, that period in Earth's history. And it would have been really, I think it would have been really nice to continue in the Next Generation. I was excited that we're in the prime timeline. I thought it would have been neat if like maybe we went 30 years or 40 or 50 years into the future from the Next Generation. And I would have been cool if it would have been the Discovery in that timeline. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been
right,
a neat thing to explore. I'm not necessarily attached to a Star Trek show having the USS Enterprise, and I get it. It's like, what are you going to do? The Enterprise J, the Enterprise F. Like, what is it? Like,
exactly. I
um,
mean, that they chose this time frame. They couldn't even do an Enterprise. I don't think. I mean, without having Christopher Pike and
yeah, or actually, yeah, it's
a
like it
bunch
would
of
be really
like
weird.
original series tie-ins like instantaneously. Yeah.
I mean, the possibility, it's kind of cool that the possibility exists that characters like Spock can be seen on the show. You never know, because Spock is certainly out there. And even I guess Chris Pike would be great to see him on the show. But at the same time, it's like I would prefer, as a fan, and I think the spirit of Star Trek is to always move forward. And it's just kind of weird that the last series and these most recent movies are all about going back. What do you think that? Why do you think that is? Because you obviously agree with me, but why do you think Hollywood or TV studios think it's better to go back? Like, what do you think's behind that?
I think I don't know. I think they took a gamble with J.J. Abrams on the first one. You know, he's like, I can make a good movie that'll be entertaining and it'll probably make a lot of money, but you never know. You know, but the original series has a like obviously like a huge following, right? So it's safe. It's safe to go back and remake that.
It's like a built-in kind of,
Right, it's a built-in audience.
yeah,
Like anybody who likes Star Trek will go see that. You know, because it's instant. Like you know the characters. You know, like you already are invested. And I feel like this is the same kind of thing. Like those movies are hugely successful worldwide. Like I'm sure when I went to see it in the theater, it was like the week after it had come out, and there was a good amount of people in the theater, but it wasn't packed. You know, but then you have to think of worldwide. Like pretty much anything that comes out of Hollywood now is what is it going to do internationally? Like how much money is this whatever? Hey,
is
gonna
that
make
spot?
yeah, gonna make in China. You know, like and because they're gonna syndicate or not syndicate, but like use a CBS All Access is gonna sell this show to like internet or even probably networks in other countries. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean,
that has a huge built-in audience from the movies and placing it. I mean, not in the same timeline because it's augmented, but you know they'll get it.
local local domestic audiences will be able to watch the new Star Trek show on the CBS All Access, pay, subscription based uh, network. And then abroad, I think they're going to air it on Netflix. It'll be available on Netflix. So
Okay,
Netflix
cool.
already has the license to do it internationally or whatever. But I think it's interesting that they're banking a huge. They're hoping that, and it's going to happen because obviously I'm definitely going to subscribe when the time comes too. That a
Right.
lot of people are going to subscribe to this just to see Star Trek. But it's a shame that Star Trek is not going to be available on television. Like, I think it's like there's something about sitting together. I mean, and you can do this with these. You could have an Apple TV or a Fire Stick or whatever. You could still watch it on your television, I guess. So I guess it doesn't really make a difference. But
Well, it's the having to be home on like Friday night or
at a
Thursday night or
certain time,
whatever, right? And like having the anticipation of the episode coming out, like oh, like ooh, especially because they said this is gonna be, it's gonna be like not episodic, it's gonna be like more novel-esque,
like a
whatever.
serial kind of thing.
Yeah,
Where
serial.
yeah. Well, DS9 did that really well, I thought, and Enterprise also had a whole season where they were obsessed with the Zindi. So it was like, I think that's definitely something that's being done, and I like that kind of television. I mean, like Game of Thrones, that's I think part of its success is that like you're dying to find out, you're left with these like tremendous cliffhangers, and you're dying to find out what happens in the next episode, and it's just like this new Netflix series Stranger Things, that was so exciting, and it was kind of like after like 8 episodes you feel like you've watched like a really great movie, where you can really get character development done and things like that, because you're not, you don't have to tie everything up in 2 hours or whatever. So I do like that idea. I hope that works really well.
Yeah, that's exciting to see. I mean, because I guess Bryan Fuller worked a lot on DS9, didn't he? Didn't
Yeah,
he
or
write
a
a lot of
Voyager.
episodes?
I thought he was a Voyager, but he might
Well, I
have
looked at
also
his
been DS.
IMDb and
Oh,
I
he's
saw a
also
bunch
on
of DS9 stuff on
DS9.
there.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely someone who's a fan. I think also Nicholas Mayer is on the project, and he's the director of Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 6, and he really defined kind of like the original series movie era look and feel, and I think that's important to have him on this project. He's a very good director and writer and consultant, I think. Um, I'm excited that there's a lot of rumors that was it Angela Bassett. A lot of fans want Angela Bassett to play a captain, but
Huh.
apparently now the lead character is not going to be a captain, so it could be Lieutenant Commander
Well, do you think
Angela
they're gonna do it
Bassett.
like DS9 style where the person commanding the ship is a lieutenant commander, or do you think there's going to be a captain, but the focus of the stories will be on the lieutenant commander X or whatever?
The impression I got is that like the captain will not be the main character. It will be the Lieutenant
Oh, no, no,
Commander.
yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with that. But like,
and
do you
that's
think there will
exactly
be a
what
captain on the ship?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I think that's the impression that I got. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know how like I don't know. It'd be like the thing I like about Star Trek also is that yes, the captain is like a central figure in all of the shows so far, like the commander or the captain or whatever. But throughout this course of the show, you really do get a balanced kind of view of all the characters. So I don't think it makes a difference if you change the focus. Like, there for a lot of fans, Star Trek: The Next Generation is about a different character. Like some fans really identify with Commander Riker, so the show is more about Commander Riker for them, and for some people the show's really about Data or Geordi or Dr. Crusher. And so I think Star Trek already does a great job at that. But so I don't mind. I'm curious to see how they execute this
Yeah.
this little thing. Yeah.
I mean, since you said what you said, you saw it's only going to be 12 episodes?
I think 13 episodes.
13? Okay, well, I mean, you can't really explore all the characters fully in that short of episode.
I
Like,
think
number, I don't, because I mean, how many episodes are in Next Generation per season? Like 20 something?
26. Yeah.
26? Yeah, like that's a lot of episodes. And I agree with you, like, Next Generation isn't Jean-Luc Picard flies through space. It's the whole
Right.
team. It's everybody. And that actually scares me that it's only going to be 13 episodes, and that they're saying they're putting so much focus on the lieutenant commander, because it's like none of the Star Trek shows are about the captain. Like, I mean, I
Right,
guess like
yeah.
DS9,
I mean,
like the big arc is about the what's his name, the
Commander
emissary.
Sisko.
Yeah.
Like, Commander
Like
Sisko,
Sisko,
later
and,
Captain Sisko. Yeah.
you know,
I mean, in a way, though, I have to say that, I mean, Star Trek, the original series, is definitely about Captain Kirk, I think. And then later, it definitely becomes more about Kirk, Spock, and McCoy as the
Mhm.
show ages into the movies. Um, and then Star Trek: The Next Generation is a little, you can argue that Captain Picard's story is the most, you know, Im- not important per se, but like the most kind of everything stems from him. Like he's definitely the central figure. Again,
The big arcs, yeah,
mhm.
like the Locutus arc, like the Borg
Yeah,
arc.
yeah, everything, even just like in All Good Things, that like yeah, it's like Picard's story. It's all it is. That Star Trek series is definitely about Picard. You can argue that Commander Cisco, Captain Cisco, is definitely the central figure in DS9, and Captain Janeway stands out as the central figure of Voyager. So, you know, on Enterprise, again, that's the show that there was like it was a period of my life where I was just like, no, what are they doing? And I didn't finish watching it. I've seen all the episodes like hodgepodge, or like I
Mhm.
know what happens, but
Well,
uh,
the weird thing for me is I didn't even know it was on air. Like I saw Enterprise for the first time on Netflix. Like I had no idea there was a new Star Trek on TV.
oh
Like by
wow,
that
that's
time I
crazy.
had stopped watching TV, like so like I didn't have a TV. So I guess I just missed it. I was like, "Oh, whoa." Like a Star Trek. Cool. Like
Yay. Well, yeah. I mean, Enterprise, I think, was kind of like it was a sad show in the sense that like it did get canceled, which is crazy.
yeah.
All the other shows got seven seasons,
7
and
seasons, yeah.
this one only had three. So, and then no one like made a campaign to save it. Well, I mean, I'm sure some people made a campaign to save it, but it didn't work. And then it wasn't until the J.J. Abrams reboots that Star Trek kind of came back to life, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, I just hope that's not going to happen again with this series. Like, and to address kind of earlier, you talked about the 13 episodes not being enough time to tell a story, and I really agree with you. But interestingly, this 13 episode sort of model is like kind of average now for television. Battlestar Galactica would do these like things where they would do like mini seasons. So they had season like 2.0 and 2.5, and each mini season was like maybe 5 or 6 episodes. It wasn't that much. Game of Thrones is only 10 episodes per season.
And I think it's going to be 8 next
And
season.
yeah, next season's only going to be 8 episodes, and Sherlock is 3 episodes a season.
Wow.
Doc,
Well, I mean, not
Doctor
because
Who's
you
also
could tell a story in 13 episodes, but not hash out the usual suspects of characters that Star Trek usually hashes out. Like there's
yeah.
not going
I
to
mean, I
be
definitely I long for the 26 episode season, and I think that like that would be wonderful. But I'm happy with whatever I can get for
right.
now.
Yeah, hey,
It's like,
I'll
yeah.
pay the $6 and watch every episode.
Is it going to be $6 a month?
That's what I saw somewhere. I'm not sure exactly which website it was on, but
I went to the CBS All Access website, and I saw that already they do have all the series streaming now. So if you subscribe to CBS if you don't already have Netflix
mhm.
and you subscribe to CBS All Access, you can watch every Star Trek show on that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I guess so. So that's about it as far as the news is concerned. Again, nice little teasers, nice little hints at things. So I guess we can move into the world of speculation now. So, like, based on your knowledge of the original series and Enterprise, and kind of like figuring out that this is 10 years before the original series, and you know, what do you think? What do you think? Some possibilities are that you could guess that might be exciting about this new show.
Hmm. I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't say. Like, because I didn't really watch the original series, really. I mean, Enterprise, I think, was probably like 100 years or so, 50, 100 years before, you know? So, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like 70. I thought it was 70 years, but yeah, it's a long time before.
right. I mean,
Been
my
a
main
long
basis,
time.
it's kind of old. So I have no idea. It could be anything to me, you know? I just hope there's Cardassians in it, but I doubt it
Oh no,
because
because I
that's a
think
TNG thing now.
yeah, I think we don't meet the Cardassians till TNG, so I doubt they'll be in it. There was some
Boo!
they're around, they're in their
All
part
right,
of
yeah, they're hanging
space, they're
out.
like hanging
Yeah,
out. Who knows if the Discovery accidentally slips into a like some kind of space conduit that takes them to meet the Cardassians early or something. But
maybe in like 50 years, Cardassia will be invading Bajor. So
what if the Discovery is an experimental time ship?
that's crazy. I mean, I
That
don't
might
think
be
they would do that, but
that
I
might
mean, they're
be.
well, because in Enterprise, there's all the like temporal mumbo jumbo,
Oh
temporal
yeah,
Cold War, and like all like that crazy guy that kept showing up in Enterprise.
it
So
was like,
maybe,
yeah, it's true. That was the Enterprise J, actually, the future space time vessel. But I don't know if I like all that stuff. But
no, I hope it's not, but it might be.
I, being an LGBTQ person, I am excited that there's going to be a gay character on the show that we'll get to develop more than just like a scene in a movie. That would be really neat. Um,
Right.
but actually, it's not the first gay character. Obviously, there's been like, on DS9 we had the first. I think DS9 is responsible for the first homosexual kissing scene between Dax and another character whose name
And
who I
Trill.
can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think Voyager might have done something. I'm not sure, but also in the new Star Trek Beyond there was the scene with John Cho's version of Sulu is gay, and that was exciting. So yeah, I think it'll be neat to have an actual character.
What did you like? I mean, this isn't about Discovery, but what did you think about that? Like making Sulu gay, like
I I was all for
the
it.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, I was all for it. I really like the explanation. If you get a chance, if you haven't done so already, read Simon Pegg's response to George Takei.
Okay.
Um, Having seen the movie and the whole scene, what I did think was ridiculous was all the hype or craze around it.
Right.
Like
I mean, it
it's
really
it's
wasn't anything big.
there was really
It's just
there's no
hey,
like
let me give you a kiss. Okay. See you guys later. Because I think they when they just got on the station, right? Like it's like
yeah,
I
it's
miss
like
you. Like okay, see you later. That's it. Like
it's a really sweet scene. It's not important as far as the film is concerned. It's important maybe sociologically or
right.
like from that perspective, and that's great. And I'm all for it. I'm all for Sulu. I like that George Takei is a very outspoken person in the LGBT community, and
Mhm.
he. I was actually more surprised that he didn't think that Sulu should be gay. Um, but I liked it. I didn't mind. I think, everything's topsy turvy in the Kelvin timeline anyways. So why not change a few fundamental facts here
Yeah.
and there? It's like, and there's nothing to suggest that, Sulu himself, isn't could have gone the original Sulu could have been gay or bisexual or maybe that's not even a label that people care about in the future. Maybe people embrace like a more
Right.
fluid
Right.
sexuality in the
Like
future.
that's how I always kind of assumed Star Trek was. It was just like it wasn't. I mean, we're George Takei made it an issue, but like I feel like in the Star Trek universe, it's none of that stuff is like nothing sexuality wise is no everything's cool, like everything's gravy, like
Yeah, it's like
no worries, like yeah, it's just how it should be, which is how Star Trek usually is, or strives to be.
right. It starts to show humanity at its best, and I
Mhm.
think that is definitely humanity at its best is at its best when there's just a lot of acceptance and tolerance and like and people try to understand. Seek to understand is like a fundamental thing in Star Trek, and it's something that we can all apply to our personal lives. So yeah, I think it's going to be exciting that there will be a character. By the way, a little trivia: Ensign Hawk in Star Trek First Contact is the scene that identifies him as gay was written out somehow, but he was supposed to be the first gay character on screen.
Ensign
And
Hawk he the guy in Band of Brothers? You watch that HBO show? Like he was
Oh, I
in Band
haven't
of
seen that
Brothers.
show, but he might be the same
Is he like
actor.
the
He's
super blonde guy? Like I'm not sure
yeah.
if
In First Contact, he's the one at the helm who later on when they're trying to detach the deflector array, he gets converted to a Borg.
or yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Same guy.
that's
Same
him.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I'm excited about is having I I am excited about Star Trek, a whole new Star Trek, but again, it's like there's a lot of things that like worry me because I feel like without I mean just 10 years before TOS, like why not just that's the main thing that just worries me, I think,
Right,
is
like,
like
and if they wanted to do something new, which I mean, I guess it kind of is, because I mean, it has 10 whole years to catch up to what people already know,
right.
like,
We're not even gonna have the Romulan Wars. It's not even
right.
gonna be like Romulans. I don't know. We'll
And they could
see.
have gone 100 years after TNG and written something completely new. Yeah.
I know. I mean, imagine like a show set at like imagine everything goes. Okay, like Picard gets old, he passes away, and then somewhere in that time period, um, the Borg figure out a way to actually, you know, mess up the Federation. Like many
Mm,
Federation worlds are assimilated. Earth is like the last kind of bastion of hope for, the alien races of the Federation, but it's in tatters. Like many, you know, basically the Borg have drawn this like intense line, and so, you have this kind of like ragtag, lesser version, kind of grittier version of the Federation and of Starfleet, and you have a whole story set in this like really dark time, and it can be done because it's like not a time that we know about, and it's
right.
like you can kind of explore it, and like I don't know, that would have been just for me that like I'm not even a writer for Star Trek, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, they could do so many different things that would be new, but I'm still gonna watch it, and hopefully it's really good.
Yeah. So I guess that's our verdict is
Right,
we're still gonna watch it.
right.
Well, cool. Do you have anything else to add to the discussion?
Oh yeah, well, one thing we didn't mention is it's confirmed that there's gonna be robots in the show. Did you see that?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Whoa.
he just said like somebody from the audience, like at Comic Con or whatever, asked, "Are there gonna be robots in it?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Oh, I did read the thing about the artificial intelligence will play a role in it. So that also bothers me because and I think the movie versions of Star Trek, the Kelvin timeline do a good job of this. We know the computer's like super advanced, but like it
Mhm.
doesn't really like it's not like, a computer that you can have a conversation with. In the original series, it was the same. Like the computer just kind of did answered, it kind of like you gave it a command and it answered you. And it was also really like if you remember the original series, computer voice was like computing. It was like very
Right,
computery, like, it wasn't like later in Star Trek The Next Generation you have Majel Barrett Roddenberry doing the voice, and it's like
right,
a very friendly, sounding voice. But that's the other thing is that like, and then I think on Enterprise, I don't even think the computer had a voice, right? They just like
no,
interfaced with it like we
yeah,
do today with computers. So it is interesting that they're gonna tackle artificial intelligence, and like I'm a little puzzled. I hope that the computer is not more advanced than it's supposed to be.
right.
It's just that's my other problem is like there are a lot of restrictions that I will as a fan expect them to follow or have a really good explanation as to why they're
Why they
not
break
following.
it? Yeah.
So we'll see what happens when the show actually airs. Great point. I forgot about the AI thing.
Yeah, and the thing I read, it just said like a response. There will be robots. Like I didn't even see
Yeah.
like an AI thing. Yeah, I don't know what else. Robots. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it could be fun. I mean, that would make there is a lack of robots in Star Trek, and I think that's kind of an interesting commentary. Like, the humans and aliens in Star Trek, I think, still do things for themselves. Data's like an exception. He's an android. In the original series, we do see androids. We do see like Mudd's women and like some other examples of androids. So they do exist out there, but they're not. It's not like Star Wars where there's like tons of droids that
Right.
do everything you could possibly imagine, from taking out the trash to cleaning your windows. And it seems like in Star Trek, it's like a person will actually do those things, still does those things. Like, so you can kind of imagine that there is some automation, but, it's not a lot. I do
Right.
think, though, that it is inaccurate. I think that, um, as is evidenced by the popularity of robots already, like, you can buy a robot that vacuums your home and it's pretty popular. Like, a lot of people have that. And,
Yeah, those
like,
those things are so expensive. Those like Roombas, like $500. What?
it's true, but you could buy one. It's like,
Yeah.
considering how long they probably last, I mean, it might be a good investment. And it's always cleaning your floor. It's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Um, and they're huge too. They're like this big. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen a small Roomba, although that would be great for my apartment. I would consider getting a small Roomba.
No, right, like I have a one-bedroom apartment. If I got one of those Roombas, it would just. I feel like it would just run into the wall like instantaneously.
Constantly.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, it'll be cool to see robots in Star Trek. I think that's a fun thing. But then, like, how do you explain if there's a lot of robots in Star Trek Discovery? How do you explain the lack of robots later on? So they're gonna have to come up with all these things. It's like,
Well, and I think he said that there's going to be more aliens, like more Starfleet aliens, in the show.
which I like.
Then,
That's a good thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although
but
there's
unless there's CGI aliens, because then that's lame.
Yeah, I think it's going to be prosthetics. I saw a cool tweet from Bryan Fuller, I think, this week that showed what looks like Andorian antenna.
Hmm.
So, I think that, like, it's going to be exciting to see what they come up with. I mean, I think we can definitely have Klingons. You'll have Vulcans for sure,
Right.
Andorians, no Ferengi, no Cardassians. I don't think Bajorans or anything like that. But there's a
Right.
lot of aliens in Star Trek. I mean,
Right.
so who knows? It's true.
I mean, I was hoping it was going to be like a. I was hoping it was going to be an Obsidian Order show. It was all about the Obsidian Order, and then I would have been happy. But
Well, the other thing about Star Trek Discovery that it still says in the little teaser, it said new crews, and someone suggested that the show might, every season might take place with a whole different, kind of like what's that show that everyone, True Detective, like how it
right,
changed up every season. Um,
that'd be cool.
and that'd be cool. I mean, like, and I would love it if they hopped around. Like, it would be neat if, like, okay, so maybe we spend this season in this event. Like, maybe that is the focus of this season, is like this like event that's supposed to take place, and then next season maybe it is the future of Star Trek, or So yeah, if they're gonna do something like that, I think that's more exciting.
I agree. That sounds really cool.
Cool.
It does.
So on a scale, I don't know, we don't have to do a scale, but like, how excited are you for the new Star Trek Discovery show?
Right now, mildly excited. Like
Okay.
I'm not like, ooh, I can't wait. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm hopeful, and I'll be stoked to watch it when it comes out. Yeah.
I'm in the same place. It's like a wait and see kind of, like, I'll definitely watch it. I'm hoping it doesn't suck. But part of me is a little afraid that it is not going to be great.
Right. But then I'm gonna still watch it because
Yeah.
gotta support, even if it's horrible, I'll still watch it. 'Cause-
That's a terrible thing. We shouldn't vote. We're supposed to vote with our dollars and send a message. And even Star
Yeah.
Trek, as sacred as it is, needs to be a great quality show. And
It
so
should be.
if the
But
studios think that we'll just take whatever they give us, then they'll put out crap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why, like, what? How many years has it been since Enterprise went off the air? You know?
It's been a lot. I think it went off the air in 2005, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So it's been 11 years, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
it's crazy because I feel like I grew up in like the best time for Star Trek. You know, like I was a young kid when TNG was on, and then like I was, you know, in my tweens or whatever when DS9 like got rolling. You know, and then Voyager was the same kind of thing. You know, but perfect. So many
Yeah.
shows all at once. You know,
Well, I
like.
think that was the height of Star Trek on television. I mean, like,
Mhm.
some people argue that it was oversaturated, and that's kind of like what killed it.
I
It's
could
like,
see that, but
yeah.
I feel like they could have not done Voyager so soon. Like they could have no. Like I like Voyager, but they could have like took it like wind it down, and then 2 or 3 years later, then launched Voyager.
It's
You
true.
know,
It would have. I think that would have been a great move. But I think, I guess, like, when you're flowing in the ratings, positive ratings, and you're getting a lot of income from these endeavors, it's like, what do you do? Why do you hold off for a few years? So it's kind of
right?
like it is kind of like one of the hardest things. And I think the same thing happened to Stargate. That Stargate was super popular. Then they made Stargate Atlantis, and that was popular. And then Stargate Universe kind of died. And it was like, I think you're right. Like, if you don't have a story to tell necessarily, it's better to wait than to just, you know, tell a story for the sake of telling a story. But
Right.
at the same time, it's hard to ignore this wave that's in front of you
But
of
yeah, I mean, I guess
excitement.
like Voyager launched with UPN.
Right.
Like it was a huge thing. So it's like, oh, okay.
Is UP? Do you know, is UPN still around today? Is it
I
even?
don't think so. It might be, but it's not like the UPN of that time.
That
Definitely not.
time. Let me check and see here. UPN, does it still exist? Let's see. The United Paramount Network.
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
if I'm not, are you checking online as well?
I'm just looking at the Discovery like blurb thing.
Okay, according to, it's owned by CBS, so maybe UPN just evolved into, it was replaced by the CW, which is actually really successful.
Oh, that's weird. I thought. I guess that makes sense. I always thought the CW was a WB, like a Warner Brothers thing, but I
Yeah, it
guess
might.
not.
I guess it says it's replaced by, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's like the same Paramount stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. It's probably Warner Brothers because of all the. Doesn't Warner Brothers have the rights to all the
Like the
DC?
Flash and
Hmm.
those
Hmm.
shows. Yeah, Supergirl.
But it was dissolved in 2006.
Hmm. So
Nine
no.
year, 9 years ago. I mean, sorry, it was dissolved in 2006. So yeah, UPN is no more.
Now I'm not
And
even sure if like Spock or any of the original crew would be allowed to be on this show, like on the series.
oh, is that right? I thought
Yeah,
CBS. Well, CBS has the rights to the TV.
right. But all those characters are Universal movie characters.
Well,
So,
I think Paramount can use those characters in films,
mhm.
and CBS can use those characters in TV.
All right. I mean, I don't know. Like,
I'm not
either
exactly
way.
sure how the licensing or the rights go, but I'm pretty sure that they can, if they wanted to, they could use
They
the
can.
characters. Pretty
Well,
sure.
hopefully.
But
Well, maybe not. Hopefully. We'll see.
So yeah, I think that wraps up our discussion about Star Trek Discovery. Unless you have anything more to add, but I think I'm
No,
good.
I'm good. I mean, hashed a
Cool.
lot of stuff out.
Yeah, I think we had a great conversation. So I look forward to getting back to our rewatching of Star Trek: The Next Generation,
Yeah.
and I'll see you on the next episode. And until then, live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.